Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So Marvel revealed a whole bunch of stuff about Avengers Infinity War, purple floaty chairman, so this is going to be a breakdown. So as you can imagine, the official title for Avengers Infinity War Part 1 is just Avengers Infinity War. They pretty much did the same thing that Geoff Johns did when Justice League was starting production. People were like, what is the first part of the movie going to be called? What's the second part going to be called? And Geoff Johns was like, just to clear the air, there's no subheading. The first Justice League movie is just called Justice League. So the first Avengers Infinity War movie in that same tone is just going to be called Avengers Infinity War. Nice and simple. A really catchy title that immediately tells you exactly what the action of the movie is going to be and sets off all these warning alarms in comic book readers' heads. Like, oh my god, you start thinking about all the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet storylines. So the real question is what they're going to name the second Infinity War movie. So the Russos are actually directing both of those, if that wasn't clear. But they did say that the reason for changing the title between the first and the second movie is just to let you know that they're going to be very different movies. It's not going to be like one big movie, just chopped in half. Because we kind of have gotten to that place, like The Hobbit, for instance, where they turn what should be one movie into like 3 or even 4 movies. I predict that someday in the not-too-distant future, there will be a studio that tries to milk a franchise for all it's worth and will try to turn the last movie of a trilogy into 4 movies just so they can boost their profits for the next couple of years. But in Marvel's case, there are just so many stories that build into Thanos assembling the Infinity Gauntlet and how the Avengers get it off of his hand, how they fix the universe. Because even though the Avengers movies are all very high concept, you're dealing with like really trippy ideas. Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet take that to new levels, so that's why they've had to kind of weave him in very slowly. That was one of Joss Whedon's earliest suggestions to Marvel when he started working with them. They were making the first Avengers film, and Thanos was a much bigger part of it, and he's like, whoa, pump the brakes on this. You have to thread him in much slower. So you have ideas like Thanos Infinity Crusade, Infinity Quest, Infinity War. That was actually the name of one of the stories, Infinity War. But I think what we're all expecting, at least from this first film, is that Thanos will assemble the gauntlet and he will do something crazy, like he'll snap his fingers like he did in the comics, he'll erase half of life in the universe, and then the story of the next Avengers film will be the Avengers dealing with that, fixing it, getting the glove off of his hand. But in terms of titles for that fourth Avengers film, like the second part of the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, I think it'll either be Avengers Infinity ... something else like Avengers Infinity Crusade or some other derivative of the idea of Infinity, or they'll just call it New Avengers, which is actually a separate title in the comics, so don't confuse New Avengers in the comics with what's going on in the movies. But by the time we get to that fourth Avengers film, there will actually be a lot of new Avengers, Captain Marvel most notably. But let me know in the comments, what do you think the title of the fourth Avengers film is going to be? Do you think it's going to be New Avengers? Do you think it's going to be Infinity Crusade? Do you think it's going to be some other derivative of Infinity? It makes sense that it would, but I can understand if they want to choose something that's completely different, just so that you don't confuse it with Infinity War. And just to catch up with purple floaty chair, glove-wearing man, I totally love this picture. This is actually taken from the footage that they showed at Thor Ragnarok, like the funny documentary that I talked about in my other video. We all know about the visions that Thor had during Avengers Age of Ultron. He has a vision of the glove being assembled, and he's just like, oh my god, I need to figure out what's going on. So he flies back to Asgard, and that's the last we see of him. But from what we've learned about Thor Ragnarok and the behind-the-scenes footage they showed at Comic-Con, he's actually all dressed up like Braveheart, fighting in an arena against the Hulk, while Loki and the Grandmaster are cackling, twiddling their thumbs watching them. So very clearly, something has gone off the rails in Asgard, so we'll find out about that in Thor Ragnarok. But because this picture flows from Thor Ragnarok, that's the next movie that's going to touch base with him. James Gunn has already confirmed that Thanos is nowhere to be found anywhere in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We might see the Soul Gem, but that's the closest it's going to get to Avengers Infinity War storyline. Kind of flowing from that idea too, Doctor Strange, relatively self-contained movie. Even if we see the Time Gem, we probably won't see Thanos. So let me know what you think that Thanos is going to be doing in Thor Ragnarok. Personally, I think the easiest prediction is that he's going to raid Odin's vault. He's going to come calling on Loki for the things that he helped him with. He's like, I gave you the scepter with the Mind Gem. Now I'm coming to collect. I want the gems. So you can understand how Loki's hedging his bets, aligning himself with one of the other elders of the universe. The Grandmaster, very powerful person, probably not quite as powerful, but Loki's just trying to make as many friends as he can in high places because he still owes him a debt, and Game of Thrones style, Lannisters always pay their debts. So it'll be really fun to see Loki interact with Thanos. But giveaway time, congratulations to this week's giveaway winner, Brandon Crespo, you win a $20 Amazon gift card. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. The Marvel giveaway is still going on too, so all you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. There'll be a couple more Marvel videos this weekend. I know I haven't done a Black Panther video in a while too. They did reveal quite a bit of stuff about the movie at Comic-Con, but they haven't started making it, so there really isn't any footage for it yet. So a whole bunch more comic book stuff happening this weekend. Get hype. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here for my breakdown of the Thor Ragnarok footage, and you can click here for my breakdown of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 footage. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.